Coming up on Mountain News this morning, as we get closer to summer, it's about that time to start checking yourself, your kids, and your pets for ticks. And a city in Knox County holds a groundbreaking for a project county leaders hope will boost tourism in the area.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
All right, 5:32 here. I'm Dakota Makris. Good morning to you. And it's Wednesday, the middle of the work week. Let's head on over to Brandon for a look at that forecast. Well, I guess really middle of the work week for you, Brandon. For us regular folk, it's just another, just second day for us. I'm sorry, don't hold a grudge.
Anyway, let's talk about the forecast as we head out the door this morning. We're going to continue to see again some patchy fog out there, main locations. Go to Jenkins. Camera showing a different direction there this morning, so that's a good scene to see there. We're looking again up toward, I believe that's from Jenkins back over toward Jenkins Mountain there. It's hard to tell. Sometimes when they turn this camera around a little bit, it kind of shows you a different vantage point, but I believe that's what we're seeing this morning. Actually, the going up the mountain there might be Jenkins Mountain. So again, hard to see the perspective on that, but regardless, daylight coming, and we're looking at a little bit of patchy fog over that way. Temperatures a little warmer than yesterday. 52 in Clintwood is the coldest spot right now. 64, Moorhead, Jackson, and Monticello are warm spots for the moment, but there's more 60s out there than there were this time yesterday. 63, Somerset, London, Williamsburg, and Logan. 62 in Pikeville, 60 in Prestonsburg. And that's about it, but there's a lot of folks that are close to 60 this morning. So by basically 7 o'clock, I think we'll drop into the upper 50s, low 60s for everybody. Sunshine for a while after the fog goes away, and then I think we'll see a few clouds this afternoon and some spotty rain chances are possible, topping out in the low to mid 80s. Dakota?
Brennan, thank you. Now that Memorial Day weekend has come and gone, and the unofficial start to summer has begun, and it's time to be on the lookout for ticks every time you venture outside. WYMT's Olivia Calfee talked with a veterinarian and a pediatrician about things you may need to be aware of for both animals and humans as we get into tick season.
The most recent data from the CDC reports the number of tick disease cases jumped 25% from 2011 to 2019. Pediatrician Molly O'Rourke says taking precautions when you or your family is outside is key.
Just be more proactive, keeping your kids in areas that are less likely to have tick bites, using sprays when you think your child might be exposed and watching for it.
O'Rourke says after being outside, checking yourself and your kids from head to toe is a vital part of being proactive. Really
any exposed area, but with children, they tend to move their clothing. So even though they might not be exposed, you had the shirt tucked in, they can pull the shirt up and then they all of a sudden get a tick bite.
And while ticks have been more common this year, she says the chance of humans contracting diseases such as Lyme disease is rare in our area.
A tick can cause a small infection or irritation at the site of the bite. We don't have Lyme here typically. But it's a possibility.
But veterinarian Courtney Frazier says there is a larger risk for your furry friends, and she has seen an increase in dogs testing positive.
With ticks, there's a ton of diseases that they can transmit. So a lot of people have heard of Lyme's disease, particularly, and Rocky Mountain spotted fever, because those are the ones that we see really commonly here.
She says it takes less than 48 hours for ticks to transmit disease. So checking pets after they've been outside is also vital.
If for some reason they think that it's been attached longer than that, I would recommend a checkup with your vet just to make sure. There is a test that we can do to test for some of the more popular tick-borne diseases, and if that test is positive for an antibody, a lot of times we do start an antibiotic just prophylactically to make sure that we're going to clear an infection.
That was Olivia Calfee reporting. Both O'Rourke and Frazier say using tweezers to remove ticks at home is most effective for both humans and animals. And if you have any concerns, consult with your vet or your primary care doctor. A groundbreaking was held in Knox County last evening for a new project county leaders say will serve people across the region. More than 200 people gathered in support for the new Knox County Sports Complex in Barberville. Knox County Property Valuation Administrator Bob Blevins says this project was needed for the community and offers a potential boost in tourism.
We need it for local leagues, we need it for the practice facilities, we need it for travel bombing. That's a huge tourism driver now. And we're sitting in a good spot for it, kind of middle between Knoxville and Lexington. I think it's a great spot. In Kentucky, I guess just in rural areas in general, don't have a huge tourism draw to keep you overnight. Well, if I'm playing tonight and I got to play tomorrow, I know I'm going to stay here overnight or locally, somewhere close by anyway.
Knox County Judge Executive Mike Mitchell says the complex will have 4 fields for baseball and softball and even a walking trail. A Pike County business is celebrating its 40th anniversary, hoping to thank the people who helped plant its roots and power its reach. Our Buddy Forbes shares how a desire to serve became a decades-old store.
Lighthouse Christian Bookstore was always meant to be a beacon of light for the Pikeville community.
Neither my wife nor I had ever been in the retail business before in our entire lives. We were in our mid-30s, and it just occurred to us that we wanted to do this, and I guess I was foolish enough not to realize all the things I didn't know, but it worked out.
Opened in 1983 with a desire to provide resources for people in the region who needed gifts, guidance, or small glimpses of grace.
The most amazing thing has been the people. To watch the people grow, to watch them, yes, grow older, but grow in the Lord.
Creating a space to celebrate spirituality, songs, salvation, and support. Hoping to be part of important moments and milestones for people in the community.
And we've served as many as 4 generations of people, even in the same family. It's been an incredible ride.
Now the store is celebrating a milestone of its own. 4 decades of dedication as a growing and thriving small business.
In fact, I guess we're a regional store by default because we're the last one left.
Owner Jim Ratliff says the success his store has seen is only because of the support from its customers.
Where you guys from? Down here in Floyd County in Iowa.
That they actually came to Pikeville to see us, and the other stores were the drop-bys. We were the destination. That's incredibly flattering. And I don't think I'll ever quite get used to that.
And even through the darkest times, when the pandemic paused so much.
It was really hard and hurtful to see your resources dwindle away to almost nothing.
He watched the Lighthouse's beam reach further than he ever expected.
It made us thankful to be here because we weren't always sure we would be.
As the market and its mission shine on. In Pike County, Buddy Forbes, WYMT Mountain News.
Ratliff believes one of the keys to success is keeping the same people behind the register. He and his wife and his son have been learning their customers and growing relationships since he opened the doors, something he says God has blessed them to continue doing. 3 Kentucky students are showing off their literacy and spelling skills at the Scripps National Spelling Bee. They are among 231 spellers who earned their spots as national competitors by advancing through regional spelling bees. They will be competing against students representing all 50 states, the District of Columbia, certain U.S. territories, and Department of Defense schools in Europe. Spellers will also represent 3 countries outside the U.S., the Bahamas, Canada, and Ghana. Eliminated speller 5th grader Isabella Carver of Hanson Elementary in Hopkins County says the hardest part is getting on stage.
The hardest part is probably gathering up the courage to get on stage. When you know the word, it's pretty easy to spell, but it takes a lot of courage to get up on stage and do something in front of so many people.
Isabella and Ian Gibson of Bowling Green Junior High School were eliminated in round 1. 7th grader Noah Brumfield, also of Hanson Elementary, has moved on to round 2. Spellers will compete in 4 segments of competition to determine who will take home the Scripps Cup. Speaking of students, they may not be able to enjoy a lunchtime favorite in the near future. The U.S. Department of Agriculture is discussing the potential to remove chocolate milk in schools, which has sparked some controversy. Lisa Feinstein talked with nutrition officials at Cabell County Schools about the chocolate milk debate.
The USDA is finalizing new rules for the 2024-25 school year that limit added sugars in school meals.
And the flavored milk is something that's on the table as being cut from the National School Lunch Program.
Travis Austin is the Director of Food Services for Cabell County Schools. It's his job to make sure school lunches stay up to nutritional standards. Austin says the debate of chocolate milk or no chocolate milk is a tricky topic.
If it's the flavor that gets the kids to the nutrients in the milk, then, you know, and then the added sugars. So that's just the debate. And it's been this kind of like resurfaces every 5 to 10 years, it seems like.
A decision has not been made final yet and won't be made until next year. If it's approved, it's more than chocolate milk changes.
They are looking at the added sugars, not only in milk, but they're looking at it in the cereals in the morning, the yogurt, some of the breakfast pastries. I think that's a good idea. You know, limiting the amount of added sugars can't be a bad thing. I'm not really too worried about what they're going to do, because at the end of the day, they're going to decide it is what it is. And whatever they come up with, you know, we'll follow those guidelines and we'll make the school breakfast and the school lunch as appealing as possible.
That was Lisa Feinstein reporting. If the USDA does decide to remove flavored milk from schools, you won't see any changes go into effect until the 2024-2025 school year. The changes would only be seen in K through 8 schools. Coming up, famous singer Sia opens up about being on the autism spectrum in an episode of a podcast.
Spotty chances for showers and storms will follow us the next few days before Mother Nature cranks up the heat. I'll have all the details in about 3 minutes.